Hey everybody, it's your boy Jack here, and today in this video I want to welcome you to the review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Finally, the post-Endgame goodness, the Spider-Man movie is here. I am so excited to talk about this film. It's a really, really great film, well thought out, and yeah. Besides that though, something that's also great is obviously the new background I have here. For the past probably about 2 or 3 months, I've been developing this sort of studio space and everything in my empty, in this empty storage room that I have in my house, and I'm excited to sort of show you guys. With that being said though, obviously as time goes on, I'm going to be sort of improving the studio space and everything, this sort of being like the somewhat second official video that I've shot here and everything. And I hope that as time goes on, the content will get better. And I'm sorry if this first video ends up having some kind of audio issue or whatever, because I know this one's a little long and it can get a bit echoey at times. But, so Spider-Man Far From Home is directed by John Watts, aka the director of the first film. It has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 69% on Metacritic, and a 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It is from the film series Spider-Man Far From Home, or Spider-Man Homecoming. And the film's casts includes Tom Holland as Spider-Man, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, Zendaya as MJ or Michelle Jones, sorta, Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds, and then we got a shout out like Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. But besides that though, that's all you really need to know about the film. Anything else I'll bring up during the review. So let's dive into it. So firstly, let me give you a bit of my overall thoughts about the film. So the film itself is really good. It's really well done and it's really well thought out. Firstly, it's really, really well written. It takes what's really great about Mysterio in the comics and even Spider-Man in the comics and sort of really reinvents it in a way to a certain extent. And the writing for the story itself, the script itself, is phenomenal. I feel like the writers who are writing this film have a really great idea of how to understand where their characters' journeys individually and how they're going to intersect with each other, and how to use foreshadowing appropriately in the film itself. As well, the film itself is very visually pleasing and stunning, and the actors' performances are really, really well done. I also got to shout out costume design and the music, really great. I'll touch on a bit of those throughout the rest of the review. Besides that though, some of the things I really liked about the film is the fact that it has this teenage movie vibe. Something I found with this film was I kept on looking back at Homecoming and seeing what was great about Homecoming and seeing it really still represented in this film. One of the examples is how it sort of has that teenage vibe or whatever, that teen movie vibe with having that unexpected school trip or whatever, going to Europe, and then them going on this unexpected journey of they're going to go to Paris, now they're not going to Paris, they're going to Prague, and and having that sort of unexpected vibe with the wild and wacky classmates and teachers present in the story itself. As well, I really liked how the Homecoming crew really sort of has grown and everything. I really like Ned. He's awesome. He's hilarious. I love the whole him being in a relationship and then also at the same time sort of bashing on it at the beginning of the film and sort of coming full circle. At the same time, I love Flash Thompson's development. I think he's sort of one to watch and everything. I really like Tony Revolori's sort of portrayal of him as a character, and I really like how it's just sort of there's that sadness to him where it's you sort of get on why he is sort of so annoying and why he sort of is such a present with social media and everything, just because he doesn't have that big of a family life, which is sort of sad. I'm sad tear. Besides that though, I love MJ. I think it's a really good, really interesting performance. I really wish we could see more and more of her throughout the in the next series or whatever, in the next installment of the Spider-Man films. Besides that though, something else I really loved about the film is the music. Michael Giacchino, he helps compose the score for this movie, aka like the underlying music for this movie, and once again he kills it. He obviously originally composed the Homecoming score and everything. He also has composed the Jurassic World scores. Really, really love him for that. I really love how he has such a little bit of an Avengers motif hidden into the score, where it sort of has this building aspect of what like the original Avengers score is, but at the same time it never fully fulfills itself of like the full score happening. And it sort of does represent Spider-Man as a character, never really fully trusting himself as an Avenger. Another thing I loved about Michael Giacchino's score is that throughout the movie, like during the moments with Peter and MJ just sort of alone, or even like that beginning scene with him, Ned, and MJ and everything, you hear some what I believe to be as pizzicatos, which is when violinists or like even like the woodwinds family or whatever, the strings family, they pluck the strings or whatever of their instruments and everything to give a light little like sort of like burst of sound. It's sort of like a light little like unexpected noise. It's sort of like, it's like them sort of strumming the guitar, like strumming a guitar, but instead of it being a guitar, it's a violin. That's what I'm equating it to. I can't really confirm it at the moment, but it sort of has that like butterflies type motif to it. Like it's like at the beginning of the movie, there's a lot of that little fluttering and everything, that fluttering pizzicato type noise, and then towards the middle of the movie, there's a bit less, and then towards the end, there's like maybe a couple plucks, and then like once they like sort of kiss and stuff on London Bridge, it's like, oh damn, like there's no like pizzicatos to be seen. But I love that though. It sort of like represents what love means, and like having that little motif there of like what like sort of the relatability of like the butterflies in our stomachs and stuff when it comes to like our feelings and everything. I really like how that sort of has its arc subtly included into the film. Besides that though, I love the Peter Tingle and how that was foreshadowed in the film, like even to the building up in the last scene where like with the Mysterio hall fight scene, that was crazy with the Peter Tingle. Moving forward though, let's talk about Spider-Man. So obviously what I love about Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man is he's really great, like he really understands the character, and he understands what the script intends, but also what the producers at Marvel intend to like want to see with his portrayal of Peter Parker. And he just has a really great understanding of that. And I think that this is really tested really well in this film. With this being like his second solo film and everything, you see a lot of development with Tom Holland as an actor. He has to, he has to sort of show and portray a wide range of character, like a wide range of emotions with his character, because he has to deal with love and lust, and like he has to live with the fear of the elementals, or the fear of Mysterio as a character, and the fear of like failing and everything. Yet in the same way, he has to look at like the legacy of Tony Stark, and like there's such a wide range of emotions that he has to do, where it's like happy, sad, nervous, scared, like emotional, and like he really pulls that off greatly. And that's what I love about him as an actor. I really have to appreciate that. I think that's something that's great, and that's what I love to see with him. It's just the ability as an actor to portray those emotions on screen accurately and like sort of really hit you in the gut. Gotta give a round of applause for that. I also love where they I also love where the character sort of ends post Endgame and everything, and I feel like it's sort of an appropriate beginning for new beginning to the character, but also like slash like a sort of like a solemn end to like sort of like his like training phase in a way. And I really like that. I love that I love where the character is post Endgame, and him sort of having to try to understand himself and understand where he fits in as a sort of superhero and also as a person post Blip. And I also love that like Blip opening scene. Oh my god, it was amazing. It was hilarious. Sorry, I'm going on a little like side road here. That was amazing. Literally one of my favorite parts of the film is just that, like the, and I will always, and then it's just like the showing of the pictures. It's so bad, but it works so great. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I loved it. Even like the marching band and stuff reappearing during the base basketball game or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's crazy too, because you never see that post-flip stuff. Sorry, going down a random road here, because it's like your boy's sort of getting excited talking about Spider-Man, because why can't you? Besides that though, the only thing I really, like, I have to say that I didn't like about this film is more specifically with Spider-Man. I feel like there's a bit of like a plot, like I call it a bit of a plot hole where it's like, it feels so stupid that like Spider-Man's gonna go fight Molten Man. Like how would he fight Molten Man? Like Spider-Man has webs. They can't stick to the like molten. Like it doesn't work like that. You even see a scene where like he tries to like attach it to him and then it just burns up and it's like I don't know, like why did it seems so stupid. Like why couldn't they get another Avenger? Like I have to admit in that situation, like why couldn't they get like somebody else who had like a better power set more applicable to that elemental? But like I get why the writers would sort of do that and everything. Like it just sort of seems stupid. Like why wouldn't they try to reinvent like the web shooters to be to have like a cold option or whatever, where it's like you could like sort of spray Molten Man with like a cold like icy like webs or whatever that could stick onto him and freeze him. Like that's the thing I didn't get. I'm like, why couldn't they do something like that? But like I do get the purpose of the scene and how it sort of sets in the film that Peter needs to lose in order for the story to continue. So I get that. I just wish with the Molten Man scene that they would have like why wouldn't they even consider the option to like make sort of like anti-freeze webs, or freezable webs or whatever that could like help freeze Molten Man. Just saying. Besides that though, and the only other problem I have with this film is the wire work during the Hydra Man scene, or like the Hydra Man sequence. Like there's this whole sequence, like during the whole sequence where like Peter Parker is like sort of like hopping on the little like wooden poles in the water to get to the bridge or whatever, and even when he goes onto the bridge and Hydra Man like splashes him back, like that whole sequence, I didn't like it. Like I didn't like it. I didn't think it was good or anything. Like what I didn't really like about it specifically was like the wire work. Like I could tell looking at him hopping onto each and every pole that it didn't seem natural. It seemed like he was on a wire, and I think that's just not great stunt work, to be honest. And I wish that they would have I wish it could have been improved a bit better. And then even when he splashes Hydra Man, it pulls back. I'm like it just didn't seem real either. It just seemed sort of like somewhat tactily put in there, and like I think it would have been a better film if it wasn't put in there. But yeah, with that being said though, those are the only two problems with the film I found, because I find like those are like the two little nitpicks, and I don't think that's a bad thing because this film was really good. Moving forward though, let's talk about the man himself, Mr. Mysterio, aka Jake Gyllenhaal, and his role in the film. So Mysterio is freaking amazing, both in the comics and in this movie. And I love that. Like I love Mysterio in this film, and I love that they cast Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is such a great actor, and he has such great versatility between like not going crazy and going crazy. And like you see that with Nightcrawler and like the development of that. And I love seeing that kind of aspect of him as an actor, of like going crazy and not going crazy, like that kind of thing, that sort of divide, and like sort of like the split personalities between Mr. Beck, Mysterio, that kind of thing. And I really like that. I think it's just really well done, really well thought out. Another thing I really like about Mysterio is the costume design. Once again, like Marvel killing it with that costume design, sort of modernizing it up and everything, because like Mysterio's costume's already awesome, but like now it's like freaking awesome. Because I love that chest plate and everything. I love the cape. It's crazy. I love the designs on the capes, the little details and everything. Like, for me being a bit more of like a behind the scenes nerd, I'm like looking at this thing and I'm like, literally, I just want Jake Gyllenhaal to stand like wearing the outfit for an hour and me just twirling it like him just twirling around while I just look at the details on the cape, because I feel like I literally would nerd out just on the littlest details like that, because like I love that kind of like nerd stuff, especially with like costume design. And yeah, like it's just freaking amazing. I love that costume. I literally love that costume so much. Like for me, like now looking at it, Mysterio is my favorite freaking male villain, just visually and also a bit as a villain. So, and then Hela is like my favorite female villain and everything, because she has a great costume design, but also a great villain as well. And then one more thing I liked about Mysterio is the fact that like the second act illusion scene was amazing, literally amazing. Where like it felt like a roller coaster. It did. Like Spider-Man goes to Berlin, and then like he goes and meets with Maria Hill and Nick Fury and everything. Like I really like that, and then that whole sequence just sort of dropping, and like the whole like eternal fight between with like the illusions and everything. It felt like a really great dream sequence, but like it literally felt like a roller coaster at the same time, because you feel like you're weaving through like each scene and each sequence and everything. When it's like, okay, he gets trapped in the ball, or like when he's in like the school hallway and stuff, and then he punches Mysterio, but it's not Mysterio, it's just a wall. Or like when he when Spider-Man like sort of like hits grabs the crane down, but it's like it sort of shows like how realistic it is and like how like crazy it is. Like literally, it just is such a great sequence. It's well thought out. It's like a dream. Like it felt like a dream, and especially to that part where Mysterio's like hella petty, and he's like, oh well, he's like he said the thing about Tony or whatever. I forget what he said, but he said that thing where it's like, oh maybe Tony like didn't think you were that great or whatever he said, and like the arm pops out, and then he like crawls, like the dead Iron Man crawls towards him. I was like, holy shit, that is awesome. Like literally freaking awesome. Like I love that. That was so great. And everything. Like I just love that. Like it just felt like that's what made it feel like a roller coaster, because it felt like you were hanging there and then it just drops again. Like you go through the second like sequence and everything, and it was like, fuck that. Like it's just so great, so freaking great. So yeah. Besides that though, a few questions post movie have sort of like sprung into my mind. Of firstly, is Mysterio dead? That's a question. Is he dead? Is he not dead? I'm not sure at this point. I don't think a lot of people are sure at this point. And I feel like even if Mysterio's dead, even if Quinton Beck's dead, Mysterio's definitely not dead. That kind of thing. Like, and I feel like even if we're not going to see, even if we're going to see Mysterio in the last, like in the third movie or whatever, in the Sinister Six movie that hopefully will be coming out, fingers crossed. If not, I'm going to be hella pissed. But even what I'm trying to say is, even if Mysterio is dead, or even if Quinton Beck's dead, I want to see Mysterio in the Sinister Six. That's all I'm saying. And like even that post-credit reveal was crazy too. Like it shows like the power of Mysterio as a character and everything. Like the idea of illusions and everything. Like awesome. Overall, I really did like this film. I 100%, for once, agree with Rotten Tomatoes, even though I feel like it should have been a bit more, but like it's fine. I think 90% is like amazing for it. And I think it was a really, really good film overall, and I'm really excited to see if Mysterio is going to continue in the MCU, how Spider-Man is going to continue in the MCU, and sort of what the third Spider-Man movie is going to be about. Besides that, though, those are my thoughts about this film. I really loved it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was well done, well thought out, and it's just absolutely crazy. Besides that, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Like, how haven't you seen it yet? Like, it's freaking awesome. But yeah, besides that, though, that's my thoughts. Feel free to let me know yours down below. My name is Jack. Feel free to do all the typical YouTube stuff, like the liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And hit that post notifications if that is something that you are into. Besides that though, feel free to check out the end screen for the comic of the week as well as the description on my reasonings on why it's a comic of the week. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye! Have a good night!